Welcome, my friends, to the showdown between the Warriors of Chaos, who shall be led by Sarthoriel the Ever-Chicken, the Dark Herald of the KFC Gods, and the Empire, who's going to be led by Boris Todbringer and his powerful ass mustache. So on that note, guys, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So as far as the build goes, it's going to be a little bit light on the infantry. So here in the front line, we have 4 groups of Chaos Marauders, which by Chaos standards, usually you're going to be seeing Chaos Warriors and Chosen and Elite troops. But in this matchup, and based on the build I brought, I really want to try and win the mobile game and just hammer with the heavy cav. So in total, we have 2 groups of Chaos Knights with Lances, which do struggle a little bit in a vacuum environment against Demogryph Knights. Obviously, Demis have anti-large and armor piercing, so they're going to be naturally quite good against Chaos Knights. Plus, Chaos Knights lack AP themselves. But with the charge bonus of 80 and a little bit of a support from the KFC King over here, he can cast Plague of Rust from Lore of Metal. So if you Plague of Rust Demogryph Knights overcasted, it's going to be putting their armor down to 60, which means that, or 65, I think they have 125 base. Let's go ahead and double check. And it looks like, yeah, it's 125. So it'll put him down to 65 armor, and then the low AP values but high damage output of the Chaos Knights is going to be huge. Plus they have a charge bonus of 80, so if Demogryph Knights and Chaos Knights are charging one another, you have 48 on the Demis, and here you have 80, plus the Plague of Rust. It can be a good fight, but normally it takes assets to win. You have to get that Plague of Rust off. But other than that, Chaos Knights, you just hammer the infantry, you pressure the back line, and you try and get those ideal fights against the Demogryph Knights. It's a little bit tricky, of course, and Empire has its own tricks, but I still think that Chaos Knights are really good in this matchup for just kind of sweeping, hammering infantry, and fighting big things if they have to. I mean, their combat stats are pretty damn good. And it looks like the glorious steam tank over here for Aerocrastic coming in with the tank. Man, it's going to be spooky, but you know what? The tank actually, as much of a meme as it is in the community, it can be situationally okay. So you guys will, not as good as like it was in Warhammer 1, but hey, you guys are going to see it in action here. It's going to be doing pretty good, don't you worry. So 2 groups of Chaos Knights with Lances for the hard-hitting anti-large, dedicated anti-large that doesn't need any support. We have the Summoners of Rage. Though anti-large, armor piercing, really good melee defense. These guys are there just to hunt Demogryph Knights and hunt the big flying Imperial Lords like Karl Franz and Boris Todbringer. So Summoners of Rage ready to go. Definitely a strong pick here. And just Marauders in the front line, 2 groups of Chariots, because Marauders obviously can't win the infantry fight, even against state troops. I mean, they'll probably beat swordsmen and spearmen with shields, but great swords or anything, I wonder how they do against flagellants. I feel like they would probably lose. But I have 2 groups of chariots, not only to handle the Empire infantry, but also to pressure the back line. Chariots are kind of like, hound units in a way, in that they're going to be harassing the back line, but they can also push through and really do, great work against infantry. On top of that, I have 2 groups of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. The AP is very useful against Demogryph Knights and flying Imperial Lords. Like I said, I really think that Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes are a good pick. You honestly can use Horse Masters as well in this matchup, but I figured I was going to be using Plague of Rust in the Chaos Knight fights more than I would be to accentuate my horsemen. So in this case, I decided to just get the dedicated AP on those guys. 2 groups of Poison Hounds as well, who are going to be getting in that back line. That's pretty much it. So for the forces of the Empire, who shall be led by Aerocrastic, he's got Boris Todbringer, of course, with all his goodies up there, the Regeneration and the Midland Runefang, I believe is what it's actually called. A couple Spearmen in the front line, but here in reserves, he does have great swords in the middle and 2 groups of swordsmen. And, honestly, as far as my infantry quality, the Empire is going to be okay in that regard. He's got a Shadowcaster in the back, and, whenever you don't bring healing, Toddy is the right pick because he can heal himself. So he's not going to, be missing that healing too much here. He's got the silver bullets, which is good. I like that he only has like 1 or 2 missile units here because Chaos is very good at swarming your backline with Chaos Knights and Chariots and Hounds. So in this case, Aerocrastic really only has to protect the silver bullets. And the meme tank, honestly, is going to be really tough to kill. So if I'm targeting that early, that's a mistake in my opinion. He's got 2 Demogryph Knights as well to kind of fight that mobile fight and try and contest the open battlefield. That's pretty much it. So guys, let's get this show on the road. Have some fun. So silver bullets are going to be opening up shop here. They do, of course, have the stock mechanics, so I didn't see them coming. And the meme tank is going to be shooting downtown, and it already took out 5 Chaos Knights. That's really not too bad. I mean, over the course of a long battle, it certainly could pay for itself. So the Warp Chicken getting in here, dropping that drumstick, just hammering those spearmen. And the Chariots I thought about going in with, but I saw him pull his Demogryph Knight, so I was like, you know what? I don't want to get caught that early. Let's play a little bit, just a little bit of cat and mouse, pull back and forth and back and forth. So in the meantime, Sarthoriel does get attacked by Toddy. Takes a little bit of damage, and there is also going to be a Melkost Mystifying Miasma here in the back, which is going to be doing some okay damage and slowing. Demogryph Knights with a hammering charge here into my Marauders. There are no Royal Altdorf Griffites. There's not going to be any terror, and now that I saw his Demogryph Knights commit, the Chariots are going to be slamming into the front, doing some great work against those Spearmen. And in the back, you can see some Hounds are going to be trying to get around. I don't know how they got an attack order there. I think I just sent them directly into the silver bullets, and they just like ran into those guys. So, but the Hounds back here, my idea was to kind of send them up and around the back here and open up the Chaos Knights, because then the Chaos Knights would be able to come in here and just do some work, but we'll see. It looks like he's going to be reacting pretty quick. So these Chariots are able to surge in. They're going to be going through these Swordsmen right here. Another good charge from the Chariots, just buttering up these infantry, and from there, I'm going to be switching onto the silver bullets, but he reacts very quickly with those Demogryph Knights, and he's going to be pressuring. However, that does open up the front. So now the Chaos Knights with Lances are going to be collapsing heavily onto the Spearmen, and the Spearmen are going to, falter, and it's going to allow my Marauders and other troops to sully forth. So Demogryph Knights here are going to be rushing in to kind of help these beleaguered infantry, but they're in a bad situation. They're taking a ton of throwing axes, Warp Chicken's getting in there, Summoners of Rage are also going to be beating these guys down, and these Demogryph Knights are in a little bit of trouble, but the Brave Sons of Sigma are rushing in, the Spearmen and Greatswords, so it's really going to be kind of a second wave of pressure coming in here from the Empire. So Demogryph Knights do get hit with Plague of Rust as well, so they're going to be going down super quick, so that's a good catch, and Warp Chicken here is doing his thing. There's not going to be any final transmutation, so it's just going to be debuffs, Plague of Rust, and transmutation of lead, which I believe we drop here in a second. Yeah, it looks like the Demogryph Knights are terrified. So in the back I had some Hounds trying to get onto the Silver Bullets. They do get wrapped up on the Meme Tank, and the Meme Tank is actually just durable against this type of attacks. 160 armor is certainly no joke, and the other Hound's trying to get in there with some Chaos Knights, but he does do a really nice intercept here. He's able to get me with some Demogryph Knights who are full health, and the Swordsmen are also going to be coming in to buffer. So very good catch there, and the Meme Tank coming in and actually terrifying the Chaos Knights. So the Chaos Knights, these mighty warriors of Khorne and Tzeentch and Nurgle and Slaanesh, are nothing in comparison to the terror that the mighty Steam Tank causes. So in the back line, Chariots are going to be sweeping in, trying to get on top of the Silver Bullets here, and we do get a really nice charge. Plus the Hounds are also getting in there, so we're shutting down the gun line, and the front line fighting is actually going pretty well. You can see the Marauders in company with the support of the Summoners of Rage, and of course Sartorial with that, perpetual splash damage and that really, really good kind of terror presence is doing a good job. And the Marauders are, they're certainly paying their dues. So as far as what I have left, I have a couple of Hounds in the back, still have 2 Chariots online actually. One group has 2, the other one has 3. We have some Hounds here, and the other group of Chaos Knights I believe is in okay shape. I'm just trying to hammer down that front line, break those Greatswords, and try and get into that cookie jar. So here in the back, the Steam Tank is going to be my target right now, but again, I think it's a mistake targeting the Steam Tank. It's pretty tough to kill, it's unbreakable, so I mean, targeting it in the late game, and unless it's a really isolated environment, which it's going to be a freebie, I think you should probably wait till the late game. We are finally able to get the Hounds in, so the Demogryph Knights over here are actually chasing off the Chaos Chariots and trying to get them off the battlefield, which opened up my Hounds in the back, so they then go in here with the Chariot play, and we do shut down the guns, which is going to be super important, because if they were shooting at the Summoners of Rage and these other troops here, it'd be quite scary. So here we have 2 groups of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes who are going to be teeing off on Boris Todbringer. Transmutation of Lead has been dropped, which is a pretty good debuff. It lowers his melee attack down to 21. Summoners of Rage, though, are taking a beating. Aerocrastic's doing a really good job holding here. He also does use the Enfeebling Foe on these guys to really make them quite squishy. But for the most part, both of us kind of just trade and pull back. Now, the bounce bar is pretty even. The Empire does have Toddy, who can heal. They have Spearmen, they have their Shadowcaster, and of course the Meme Tank. My army, though, it looks kind of vast here, is a little bit tattered. I mean, it's mostly Marauders, the Summoners of Rage are getting quite beat up, and he has a full health group of Demogryph Knights coming back online. So that's going to be really scary once those guys get back. They were able to get my other group of Chaos Chariots off the battlefield. Granted, there's not too many good targets for the Chariots at this point, but here we get a really good engagement. So Toddy is getting caught by the chicken. You can see that the Chaos Knights are trying to pin him down, but it looks like Toddy is going to be able to get away there. So we almost had him fully surrounded. He actually does break, which is good. And Sartorial, I mean, look at those wings. He should be able to fly. Imagine if Sartorial could take flight and just fly after him. I mean, come on, tell me this thing doesn't actually fly. Is he just a peacock with these decorative wings? But I mean, I guess they kind of, show his flying mechanic by his mass that he can just kind of push through things. But man, that would be really cool if he would be able to chase Boris up into the skies there. But anyways, we do have a pretty good fight here. You can see that there's a cataclysmic fight here in the center. These Spearmen and Greatswords do buckle to this Chaos Onslaught. So there's just a wave of Chaos Pressure Marauders, Summoners of Rage, led by this Greater Demon of Tzeentch. And it's certainly going pretty well. We have some Chaos Knights left, but there's still a full health group of Demogryph Knights, which if you look at all my stuff, like I said, it's very tattered. Thankfully, though, Toddy is quite beat up, but he is going to be healing up here in the sky. So you can see here he's at about 1500 HP, but it looks like he heals. I think he heals 8 HP every couple seconds or 1 or 2 seconds. I'm not sure, but he's healing up pretty quick with that. So at this point, it's kind of devolved into a bit of a hunt. I'm just chasing down whatever scraps I can find, and we are going to be going after the Meme Tank right now, and I'm just going to leave some Marauders to fight these Spearmen, which is going to be a good engagement for the Marauders. So the Shadowcaster and Toddy are going to be kind of recouping here, maybe saving up some Winds of Magic for his caster, and Toddy up in the skies is going to be looking for those ideal targets or anything he can pick off or tear route. So I have a little bit of ammunition left on the Horsemen with the throwing axes, and they're doing some good damage to Toddy. With that volley right there, they do about 150 damage, 100 give or take. Certainly not bad, and it looks like the Shadowcaster is going to be jumping in as well. So the Meme Tank is Plague of Rusted, which, is kind of a waste in retrospect. I kind of just did it as a bit of a knee-jerk reaction here, but it still has 130 armor, which really isn't that big of a difference. And you can see here the Demogryph Knights are going to be surging in, and that countercharge right there does break the Chaos Knights with lances due to the terror of the Steam Tank. So from here, the Warp Chicken is going to be fighting. We still have the Summoners of Rage, who have 10 models, and we are getting a little bit of a beating here on the Demogryph Knights. So I do use the Transmutation of Lead, putting their melee attack down to 7, which is going to be super useful for my troops. And in the back, we get a couple of Hounds here on these Silver Bullets. So just an incredibly close fight right now. You can see there's some Empire troops coming back in, and my infantry are pretty much just tattered all over the battlefield. I have some Marauders back here, I have some right here, but they're all very, very beat up. And if the Demogryph Knights and Toddy are able to get some good jumps on my elite troops, this could certainly be a game that would go back in the favor of the Empire. Because currently right now, The bounce power is a little bit in my favor. We're going to be jumping onto these spears, just trying to crush whatever resistance we can. If you let the Empire kind of gather and regain their focus and just get all those forces together, that's where they're going to be really scary. So trying to pick them apart here. And the Grey Wizard, evil Gandalf, or I guess the Grey Wizard isn't necessarily evil, right? I mean, he's just kind of looks like Gandalf from the first Hobbit, not the first Hobbit, from Lord of the Rings. But here you can see the Grey Wizard here is going to maybe be taking some attacks here. Demogorgon Knights do get pounded out, actually. So the overcasted Plague of Rust really butters those guys up, putting them down to 65. The Marauders and Sarthorial doesn't have great AP either, and the Plague of Rust really does help his damage output on those targets. So from here, Bounce of Power is going to be going pretty heavily into my favor. As the Grey Wizard may be going down here, he might be able to get away. He's got 400 HP. It looks like he does get staggered, but I think I ended up attacking something else. I can't really remember how I think I just kind of beeline for the tank here. I was like, I don't have time to waste on this Grey Wizard. Granted, I probably should have. Demogorgon Knight's coming in for a secondary charge. Toddy's coming in as well. Excuse me. And the Plague of Rust is still on these guys, so they're still heavily nerfed by that Plague of Rust. And as far as what I have left, I still have a couple troops on the periphery, some Chaos Marauders and some of these Warhounds, and I have a lot of troops that have just now rallied, so I need to get those guys back in, because in this close battle, I mean, everything counts. The bounce power just keeps going back and back towards the middle, as Toddy, of course, is a far superior duelist compared to the Warp Chicken. I mean, their stat lines are relatively similar, but Warp Chicken does not have a lot of AP against the 85 armor of Toddy. But here we are able to break off the Demogorgon Knights. They shatter, which is great. So now some of the big hard-hitting threats of the Empire are gone. But the meme tank was able to get some distance. Oh, and he blasts one of the Summoners of Rage. Just brutal shots coming in from the cannonball of the steam tank. And we're just going to be charging it with everything. So I charge it with the main troops, and I try and get the chariots up and around to get us around, but my angling was a little bit poor. But yeah, we're just going to be charging in. Now, I was a little bit nervous here because there's a lot of terror, and none of the troops here, except for Sarthorial, are immune to psychology. So I'm like, oh god, I got to get as much damage on him as I can. So we're going to go after Toddy here. We're going to Plague of Rust him, and we do get a big drumstick beatdown right there. Sarthorial able to drop that sweet KFC gravy. And at this point, I realize I have a lot of troops. So I'm like, oh god, I have hounds over here. I have Marauders like in Chaos Knights who are back on the edge of the map. I'm like, let's get all those guys back. Run them in, run them in. But Sarthorial's going to be going in for the duel of duels against Toddy here. Incredibly close fight. Steam Tank is going to be really tough to kill. I was very grateful that I had a Lord that was also unbreakable, because of course Sarthorial isn't going to have any issues with terror from the Steam Tank. So that's going to be a huge boon right here. So the Steam Tank in the meantime is going to be taking a couple attacks here, but the Summoners of Rage do get broken off, and the Grey Wizard actually came back, which is so unfortunate. So a big mistake earlier not getting that Grey Wizard, but Toddy does take some huge blows, 487 HP. He's at his healing cap, and now we have a duel between Sarthorial and the Steam Tank. Now Steam Tank's weapons rank in melee isn't that great. It does have a bonus for his infantry, but of course that is not going to help him against Sarthorial, the Chicken Master here. So you can see here, Toddy's coming back in. Sarthorial's going to be breaking some of these guys off. My horsemen and chariots are also back online, but the Empire has a pretty good little surround here. But I do have Chaos forces from all over. The Chaos Knights are coming back in. These Hounds are a little bit lackluster on my micro with those guys, but nonetheless, there was a lot going on here, so it certainly held my attention. Sarthorial is going to be popping the Arcane Conduit. I may have enough for like one more spell here, but the Steam Tank Blast actually staggers Sarthorial a little bit, which is interesting. And the Chaos Knights are finally going to be coming back in. The Apocalyptic Charge from these Knights is going to be lancing down these Umbrae Spears, but Toddy is going to be there to intercept. But the Chaos Knights do have some punch, and their charge bonus is probably still active here. So it looks like Boris Todbringer is getting really low. The Chaos Knights might be able to finish him off, and it looks like Toddy is going to be falling here. He waves his sword one last time before he is lanced off horseback, or not even horseback, by Griffin back by the Chaos Knights with lances. And at this point, it's just going to be the Warp Chicken going after the Steam Tank. So this is pretty much it. I mean, a lot of my other stuff probably is going to get terrified by the Steam Tank because it's so incredibly beat up. But Sarthorial has 2,000 HP against the 2.5 of the tank. But he should be able to win that duel, especially with a little bit of support here. So the Hounds and everyone else are finally coming back. Chaos Knights are able to get a decent rear charge. Granted, they don't make the most contact because the tank itself is already surrounded. And this is it. This is the final battle for the fate of the Steam Tank here. And it looks like it is going to be going down. And just to spare you guys, I mean, normally, you know, I don't always fast forward at the end, but in this situation, it's just kind of grinding out a Steam Tank with like a whole army, which can take some time. But man, that was an incredibly close game. And the Steam Tank, honestly, as much of a joke as we make about it, it did pretty good that game, I must say. Like, the Perpetual Terror, its cannon shots were doing a ton of damage against my Chaos Knights. Like, before the battle even started, he was able to get a lot of damage against my Chaos Knights. And yeah, I really did not expect, when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is going to be much easier than like had he brought a traditional build. But the Steam Tank, man, that thing was a terror that game. I must say, it really stressed me out and did a lot of work. And I was like, oh god, am I going to be able to finish this thing? But yeah, it was a really well played game. So guys, if you haven't, make sure to go check out Aerocrastic over on his YouTube channel. I have another replay. It's probably going to be going up after this one of the second game we played in the same day, which was quite good. It was his vampire counts against my lizardmen, so crazy matchup there. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But yeah, very well played Aerocrastic. Awesome game. I mean, he made that steam tank look awesome, and yeah, it was just a fierce cockfight. As far as his build goes, I think it's a pretty good build against the Empire. It's well-rounded. You have enough anti-infantry with the Knights, the Marauders, and Chariots. You have good anti-large with the Summoners of Rage, plus the Plague of Rust from the Warp Chicken and the Throwing Axes. I think it's a well-balanced build. So again, well played Aerocrastic. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Chaos vs. Empire game, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.